Never, ever let anyone belittle you.
Hi, Valerie. How are you?
I'm very fine, Alexis. I'm not going to tell you Ibu Alexis because I think you're only 15. So what should I say?
I mean, I'm fine with anything really. You can address me however you like.
Okay, so I'll call you Alexis.
Okay. So, my name is Alexis. I'm 15 years old. I live in Jakarta currently. And basically, I'd like to know more about how the UN in Indonesia's branch here is doing, and you as a person.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Look, I'm very happy to be here with you today.
Me too. I'm so honored to be talking to you right now.
Absolutely. That's a pleasure for me, actually. Thank you so much for taking the time, because it's always nice for me to meet the people who I would say the people, when we are in a country, we work for the people. But
Yes.
Who are these people? Do they have a face? So when I meet those people, I'm so happy. And even more so when it's a young person like you.
Thank you so much. We all know that the UN does emphasize on economic empowerment for women, and considering the lack of rights domestic workers here in Indonesia, a female-dominated occupation face here, I'd like to know, what has the UN in this country done to tackle this issue or aid these women?
Domestic work is one of the most, I would say, underestimated work, although it is essential. And actually, COVID has also made us realize how important it is. Because actually, if it was not for the support that is given by all those persons who do domestic work, many people in the world would be in a very difficult situation. The UN has actually fought over the years to have the work of domestic workers being recognized. And there is actually a convention that has been established by the International Labour Organization that recognizes domestic workers, and therefore that spells out the rights that they have. And that's very important, because for many, many, many years, they were not recognized at all. So in the context of Indonesia as well, what we do is that we make sure that Indonesia works respecting. So what we do is that we work with the government to help the government have the proper policies that will support domestic workers. So we work at the level of policy. We also work at the level of awareness to make sure that those women know that they have rights. And this is what is important when it comes to rights in general. It's not enough to have an enunciation of rights. People have to know their rights, because the best way to have rights being implemented or enforced is by the people themselves asking and claiming for their rights. So when it comes to domestic workers, we also made sure that they knew that they had rights. And of course, we also help them, a number of them, to find another job, because when they come back from, say, Malaysia or wherever they were working before, they don't have a job here. So one of the work that the UN has been doing was also to help people start, for instance, a small business, because a number of people were left without job. The migrants that came back, as well as the people who were laid off because, their companies stopped functioning because of COVID.
So speaking of women, do you know how the sexual violence here, women who are affected by sexual violence barely get any protection under the law, especially in Indonesia? It's a major thing. So now I know that the UN isn't necessarily allowed to intervene in national politics, but how do you think we as individuals can help these women who so desperately need it?
Why the UN has changed so much the world in reality? It's because the UN has been working on determining what we call a normative framework, which is a body of conventions, treaties, and laws that apply globally to all countries, big and small. And those conventions actually are on human rights, women's rights, workers' rights, climate change, pollution, right of the seafarers, right of the sea, you name it, everything. So if a country has a policy that violates what is within an international convention that the country has subscribed to, then yes, we can intervene. So when it comes to violence against women, we have the legitimacy plus plenty of legal background to intervene with the government and tell them, you have to do something. You know, there is one quality that I admire in people, and in everybody, is the courage. Courage is a very hard quality to find. So what ordinary people can do is speak up. If you know that a woman is badly treated, or a child is badly treated, or anybody for that matter, not only women, you have to speak up. Either you help that person directly, or you go to the police, or you find an organization. But what I mean by that is that we should never turn a blind eye when we are faced with violence, with abuse.
Speaking as, a woman to a woman, especially in this very male-dominated, I'd say, industry of, the UN and office jobs and whatnot, have you faced any difficulties in the workplace regarding your gender and where you are now?
Even today, women have to be twice as efficient as men to be considered efficient. They have to work twice as much as men, if they want to be recognized. We still live in a male-dominating world with a male-dominated culture and thinking. So when it comes to the difference between men and women, yes, it's still very much there. So yes, I had to be more, I would say, more of everything in order to be considered. And even if I consider that I have a very good position in the UN, which is among the top ones, and I can't complain in that sense that I achieved that. But for instance, when I compared myself with some of my male colleagues who have entered in the UN at the same time as me, and sometimes with less experience or background or diplomas than I had, they have managed some position before me simply because they were men. So I must say, this is still a reality. And what I often say to my girl friends, I say, never stop the fight. Women's rights are easily, I would say, reversible by those who don't want women to be equal. So we can never stop fighting for women's rights.
I'm an aspiring human rights lawyer. Do you have any tips for at least entering that kind of world, or something I should be aware of, at least in international law too, regarding the UN?
First of all, congratulations to let's say, project yourself as a human rights lawyer. We need human rights lawyer. There is a French humanist who once said that we don't have the same rights because we are equal. Because as a matter of fact, we are not equal. I've been born in a very rich country. Some people are born in a very poor country. Somebody can be born with a disability. Another one can be born, with some advantages. So we are not equal. So what he says is that we don't have the same rights because we are equal. We are equal because we have the same rights. Mm-hmm. And this is the beauty of human rights, because human rights makes people equal. It's because it has been decided at one moment that we all had the same rights. This is what has led to this logic of equality, because as a matter of fact, we are not equal. As I said, there are so many things that separate us, in terms of our capacity or opportunities. And if we don't have something that remedies that levels that, this is when you have a very unequal society. Mm-hmm. But when we say, hang on, when it comes to the right to life, the right to food, the right to education, the right to health, the freedom of expression, the freedom of religion, etc., 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 this makes all people equal. Because irrespective of where they come from, who they are, what color of the skin, their religion, their gender, the wealth or not of their family, we all have the same rights.
If you had the chance to deliver one message to all the young girls in the world right now, what would you say?
So I would say, really believe in yourself, no matter what, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You can do exactly what you want. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. As girls and women, we need to support each other, because we know that if we don't support each other, nobody else will. There was one very interesting woman who has been working in the UN as a special representative of the Secretary General, Margaret Hansty, and she said, it was her or Margaret, all right. One of them, I always mix them both. I can send you the link. But she said, there is a special place in hell for women who don't help women. So I would say it's very important that we women support women. We don't need to be jealous of each other. We don't need to, apply the male-dominating approach over women. We women, we have to support each other.
I'm so honored to interview you. Thank you so much again.
Thank you very much. Very merci. Bye-bye, Alexis.
Bye-bye.
Big hug to you. Bye.